Today's gospel reading is very exciting. But hopefully I want to unpack it today in a way that you have never looked at today's gospel reading. So in order to help you appreciate it, in this angle that I want to introduce this morning, I think I will need to retell the story, a little bit different from the way Jesus told the story. But let's begin with a question that Jesus asked the lawyer at the end of the gospel story. He says, which of these three? And so who are the three? The priest, the Levite. So let's call the Levite the deacon. And we have one deacon in church today. So let's say the priest, the deacon, and the good Samaritan. Jesus said, which of these three do you think was a neighbor? Remember the question is, who is my neighbor, right? Was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of the robbers. And of course, we know which one. But what I want to unpack for you this morning, if you don't mind, is to ask the question and get an answer. So let's go back to what happened here. Now, by chance, a priest was going down that road. And when he saw him, he passed on the other side. And likewise, the deacon, when he came to the place, saw him, passed by on the other side. Why? Have you ever wondered? How could a priest do a thing like that? That's what I want to talk about, because we all do what this priest does, what this priest did. So let's retell the story. Let's give this man that fell into the hands of bad guys. The kids love that phrase, bad guys. Let's give him the name. Let's think of a name. Can we come up with a name, a male name? What should we call that person? Any name? Suggestion? Give me a name.
Sam.
Sorry? Sam. Okay, good. Let's call him Sam. I like that. I hope there's no Sam in church, but that's okay. The Sam is a good guy. So let's tell the story this morning of a certain guy called Sam who lived in Martinsville. And he came to church at Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish. And in that parish, there was a priest. We won't call this priest Father Peter because he isn't. And then there was a deacon. Maybe it's Deacon Ed this time. So there was a priest in that church, a deacon. Sam was a very good Catholic. He comes to church all the time. And he tries his best as a father to take care of his family. But Sam was a broken man. So I hope you're following my story. Sam was a very broken man. Like this man is broken, like everyone is broken. And in his brokenness, Sam had the habit of making poor choices. And so he would go out to the 20th Street and hang out with people he should not hang out with. And Sam, before you knew it, became an addict. And he would abuse substance or alcohol. But every time he did that, Sam realizes Sunday morning that the best place to be is the church. And so Sam would text the priest before Mass and say, I need to go to confession. And then he goes to confession. And he talks to the priest all the time. And the priest just felt he needed to help Sam. And so one day he said, can I talk with you at some point? And so Sam came outside confession to have a chat with the priest. And the priest made sure the deacon was there. And he said, we need to help you because you constantly make these poor choices of always ending up on 20th Street and you do things that you shouldn't be doing. So how about if we can help you out of this? And he says, I really would love to because I just can't help myself. I try to clean myself up and be a good man, but I find myself gravitating always to the 20th Street, to the casinos, to drugs, to alcohol. Father, I need help. And so the priest and the deacon set out to help Sam. And they were helping him, and there were positive results from it. And suddenly, boom, one day, Sam wasn't in church. And Father was worried. He sent him a text. Where were you? I didn't see you in church. And Sam, after 2 days, responded, I was too ashamed of myself. I couldn't come to church. And the priest knew right away that Sam was back to his poor choices. And then he comes in to see the priest during the week, and that cycle just continued. The priest and the deacon would talk to him, try to help him out of the poor choices he makes, but he keeps going back into it. On this Sunday, the priest and the deacon were traveling to Langham for Mass because Langham was part of the parish. And as they were driving, just driving outside Delmini, they looked, the deacon said to the priest, because the priest was driving, "Can you just look across? What is that? That looks like a human being." And then they stopped and found that someone had been beaten up and was lying in the bush. Their first reaction was to lift him up and to help him into the car, probably take him to the hospital. And the deacon said, No, wait, Father, let's look at his face. I recognize this face. And they pulled the leaves that covered his face off, and they looked. Who was this man? It was Sam. And the priest said to the deacon, I think finally he got what he's always wanted. Let's go for Mass because it's time to give up on this man. We're tired of cleaning him up. Every time we clean him up, he goes back into this. Every time we clean him up, he goes back into this. And they justified it. And Father and the deacon left with a very clear conscience, feeling justified, and they went to Langham for Mass. That is the end of the story. This is a different angle to the story of the Good Samaritan. But do you see yourself in this story? I see myself in this story. And let me help you unpack this angle of this story. And maybe that will help you to see yourself. How many times have you encountered people who are constantly in and out dancing with the devil? And maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a child. And as a parent, you're constantly telling them, you're playing with fire. You're playing with fire. You're playing with the fire. And they don't listen to you like kids don't, adult children don't, right? Even teenagers don't. And they finally get their fingers burnt. And the first thing that comes out of your mouth is, well, I think he deserves what he got. Tell me you have never said that before. How many times did you even say that this week? I can't tell you how many times I've said that. He got what he deserved. But I want to ask you a question this morning. Are you really praying that God gives you what you deserve? Be honest. Is there anyone here who will say, you know, I'm so good, I'm so clean, I'm so holy that I can beat my chest and tell God, give me what I deserve? No. What do we seek from God? We seek not judgment from God. What are we asking from God? Mercy. Why do we ask for mercy? Because we find ourselves as broken people constantly dancing with the devil. How many times have you danced with the devil and God just showed up and you did not get what you deserved because God showed you mercy? And then what happens? You told a story of someone who is dancing with the devil the same way you danced with the devil a couple of years back and God saved you. And what's your immediate reaction? You judge. If only they can get what they deserve. Why do we do that? I can give you an answer quickly. Because compassion and mercy is very scarce. We like to receive it. We don't like to give it. Yes, those priests may have helped several times, helped this man to clean himself up. And he keeps going up and going back into it. And they are feeling frustrated. And then they see him on the road as they are driving to Langham and they say, he got what he deserved. But wait a minute, Father and Deacon. Have you too not danced with the devil in the past? And did you get what you deserved? So what is Jesus teaching us here? He says this week, God is going to put someone in your path that is dancing with the devil right now. And Jesus is saying, put away your preconceived mind on the poor choices they have made in trying to judge the action. He says what you need to give to them at this time is the mercy of God. because it is mercy that helps them to stop dancing with the devil. Judgment does not stop them. And don't forget, and I don't think any of us ever pray, please, Lord, don't give me what I deserve. Please. Because if God was to give us what we deserve, we can't even come into church this morning. So when you are so quick to judge someone because they are dancing with the devil, think of the time you danced with the devil and God didn't give you what you deserve. Ask God, why are you putting this person in my path right now? And I can answer the question, because God needs you to help that person to stop making those poor choices. But you're not going to help them if you think your job is to judge their actions. You're not going to help them. You're just going to be like that priest. You're just going to be like that deacon. You're not going to be like the Good Samaritan. And so what is God inviting us to do today? He says, I want you to be the Good Samaritan. And it's connected to last Sunday's gospel reading, right? Where he says we should bring all to his kingdom. I want you to be the hands and the feet of Jesus. He says, I want you to be the Mother Teresa this week, because I'm going to send someone in your path. And most likely the person is going to send in your path is a very difficult one. And it's often difficult when it's family. Maybe it's your spouse. Maybe it's your child. Maybe it's your grandchild. And you're tired of talking. And you're hoping that God teaches them some lesson. Well, think about it. If God were to teach you some lesson, where would you be? I started this Mass by reading out this quote, and I want to end my homily with this quote. Love is lived not in words, but in action.